Hello and welcome back to Holopon Solo Sagas, and today we are going to be playing our sixth episode, six already, of the game that I've looked forward to and I've enjoyed playing for years and years and years, Cyberpunk Red. Well, I haven't played Cyberpunk Red for years and years and years, but I have played Cyberpunk since 2013 came out, which was in the 1980s. Welcome back to our subscribers. If you're not a subscriber and you like what you're seeing, do consider subscribing, pretty please. Thank you very much to the Adventurers Guild for all of your support and for your continued support. If you'd like to join the Adventurers Guild, there's the join button, which might go highlighted when I say the word join, which helps support the channel and helps me purchase things and keep this rolling. And it makes me feel lovely anyway. And we're building a nice little community, I feel, personally. And you can tell me if you disagree in the comments below, which of course apparently drives the algorithm. But last session, I made so many mistakes in the heat of that combat. Whilst I was editing, I was looking through going, why did I do that? I mean, some of the things that I got wrong. One, I read the bad guy's stats wrong. The bad guy didn't have 8 ref. The bad guy had 6 because the bad guy had good armor, the level 13 armor. So that higher level of armor gives you, as he looks on his tables. So he had heavy armor jack armor, which is 13 SP. 13 SP gives a -2 ref, dex, and move penalty. So he didn't have 8 ref, 8 dex, and 8 move. He had 6 in all of those. And so rolling 2 less on any of his rolls. So yeah, so I got that wrong. So all of that solo's rolls should have been 2 less. What else did I get wrong? Timu actually did a crit on the solo midway through the game. Timu rolled 2 sixes. Whenever you roll any 2d6 or more for damage, if 2 of those or more come up as a 6, you do a critical. Timu did one on the solo before the solo did one on Owen. I also forgot that Timu had Wolvers and would probably have done a lot more damage and been a lot more dangerous running in, doing attack with the Wolvers and then legging it away again. Try to look it up. There are no attacks of opportunity and there are no negatives for running in, doing a hand-to-hand attack and then running away that I can find in Friday Night Firefight. What else? Oh, and the biggest failing of all was the damage that was done on Miriam. The solo fired a full auto burst at Miriam, and instead of rolling what you're supposed to do, which I did the first time the solo fired a full auto burst, which is you roll 2d6 damage and you times it by the number that the roll is above the DV to a maximum of the weapons. For an SMG it's 3, for an assault rifle it's 4, and you times it that way. Instead I rolled the single bullet damage, which is 5d6, and times it by that. Thus Miriam took a load more damage than she was supposed to. In fact, I put it in the video, the first 2 dice rolled a 7, so it should have been 28 points of damage on Miriam instead of the 60 that it did. And that is just what I call. I'm bound to have found I've done more things wrong. So I think when Owen didn't drop the shield, that was wrong. I think I should have used the whole action for the solo to switch out weapons, so that was wrong. So some of my action economy usage was wrong. But overall, I think what we're going to do is we will retcon that combat to Owen did take that critical injury, which we'll look up in a second and see what Owen's going to suffer. Miriam did go down, but it's not as fatal as it was going to be. We'll just say that she went down. And the solo got away but at half hit points because the solo was taking damage as well. So we'll look at how everyone's hit points are. Now originally, but I changed it in the edit by just cutting out my words, I was going to have them go back to their cargo container, but probably as they're in the car park of the Cybernetic Eclipse, and really the Cybernetic Eclipse owners, the Steel Girls, should have been stopping some solo coming and attacking their patrons. They will probably would probably pick up the scene with Owen picking up Miriam and carrying Miriam into the club as the Steel Girls would come out and sort of assess the scene, as Timu would start having a go at them about what's going on, and they would take Miriam in I'm imagining, because there's, if you saw that, I've given the maps I made. So that car park map, which I made, which is based on another map that I saw, and I can't remember where I saw it from. And the inside of this Cybernetic Eclipse, which I didn't end up showing on the video, but you can download them both if you join the newsletter. So if you go to the website, which is in the description, and you sign up, you will be sent a PDF. The PDF doesn't include the maps. The maps got sent out with a newsletter, but I'll probably send them out again as a pack with some of the other maps I'll be making, mainly for this, using that monitor type thing. The inside of the Cybernetic Eclipse is a couple of pool tables. I can visualize him coming in through that back door, dropping Miriam on a pool table, and then Timu and maybe some of the Steel Girls, or just the Steel Girls, going to work on Miriam, saving her life, although we know she's not actually died because the damage didn't do 60 points of damage, it only did 28. And then Timu having a go at the Steel Girls as being that closing scene. Now, what we also want in this scene is that we want the next part of our beat cycle to kick off. And that part of the beat cycle was Development 2 Turnabout, where one of the people in the bad side turns around and helps us out, which was going to be another journalist, Crash, from the Danger Girls dossier, was going to tell us about 24/7 and what's actually going on, and then give us a lead. And I was thinking about the lead as well, so that's going on. But we also, of course, have in the background that there's a job that we've been asked to do by the Steel Girls before Saturday, and today is Wednesday. So enough of my exposition, not long, 7 minutes, according to this clock, but bits of got cut out. Let's get on with it. Oh, and before we say let's get on with it, I've also done some XP. So using the rules in the Cybernetic Red core, we have for the club run, the in-between session where they went off and they did the social engineering and Miriam did the repairs, and then the car park fight, everyone basically got 80 XP improvement points out of that. 80 each. 40 for the club run, 20 for fixing stuff, and then 20 for the car park, because they didn't actually do very well in the car park, but I think that's more I didn't do very well in the car park. Everyone's got 80 XP. So let's have, Owen took a shot. We didn't roll the damage that Owen took. Owen took a shot, but that shot rolled critical damage. I can't remember how much we rolled, so we'll roll that now, and then we can work out how much damage Owen took. At least 2 of them came out as 6s. I know two of these dice must have rolled a 6 because he took a critical, so we'll just roll the other 3. So what have we got? So we've got 10, so 22 points of damage, which would be on the body, which means that 11, so 2 drops that down to a 9. 11 goes through, taking Owen to 34 hit points, but he did get damaged ribs. Then we have Miriam. Miriam, we said, so Miriam was 7, 14, 28. 28 in the body would be 17 going through, dropping that down to a 9. 17 going through would leave her on 23. And Timu is down to 18 hit points. His body armor has already dropped by 9. So they've all taken a shot. Now let's have a look and see what the ribs critical injury will do to our Owen. So Owen needs to have, so it says here, at the end of every turn where you would move further than 4 meters on foot, you suffer this critical injury's bonus damage, which is 5 points. Owen would also take an automatic 5 points. So when you get critical injured, you also take, so he would took the roll plus 5 points directly through, which would take him down to 19 hit points. No, take him down to 29 hit points. 29 hit points means he's still not seriously injured. So he would need to have a paramedic do a DV15 roll, or a medic, a full-blown medic, be able to do surgery with a DV13 roll. The Steel Girls would probably have a medic on board who could do this stuff. But how long does that take to heal? Does that just take, I think that probably just takes as long as it takes you to heal, which is your body back in days, every day. All right, okay, so all it is if you have a permanent repair, i.e. treatment, then it goes away. Otherwise, you have to quick fix every day until you get permanent treatment. So, Basically what it means is that Owen's ribs are fractured, ongoing, and he'll keep cracking them and re-cracking them open until he gets treated. So let's assume that there is a paramedic here who can help them. We will use from one of the DLCs. We're going to use John the Wise. I'll link John. I've got a cold. I've got a cold this week. I've called it off of Mandy. I have a cold, but I wanted to play Cyberpunk Red, so I'm doing it anyway. We will say that there is an equivalent of, we're going to use John the Wise's quick goons. We're going to say that there's an elite goon who is a paramedic, and thus they have a skill of 14. So we do a 14 plus a D10, and they need to. So they are going to attempt to do surgery on the equivalent of surgery on Owen to basically treat, which says there it's a DV of 13 to treat broken ribs. If we're saying that, so we'll say that this isn't a high-end medic, so we'll give them a -1. Actually, we'll give them a -2. -2 would give them a skill of 12 with a D10 roll, which means that we need to roll anything but a 2, and Owen gets his ribs fixed. So we go in, Owen is shouting at them. One of the docs sits Owen down and starts to treat Owen's ribs after looking. Well, he's going to say, no, look at Miriam. So she'll go off and look at Miriam. Miriam is actually all right, but we'll make her make a roll. So she gets a 15. What did we say Miriam had as her? Hers was a broken arm. That fixes the broken arm as well. So if Miriam did have a broken arm, it's fixed. We would then have this medic. So the steel girls are all girls, or they represent that way. 4. So basically, and then they sit Owen down, and Owen's ribs get fixed up. So Owen no longer has damaged ribs. Miriam didn't have a broken arm in the first place, but they do all still have taken damage, which means they're going to need to heal, but they're not going to actually have multiple days because Timu is now going to start having a go at them. Timu is going to attempt to. Timu's thinking, because I was also thinking just as I sat down and switched everything on to start recording, Timu's going to take advantage of this, because what he can do is basically get more money out of them for the job because they're injured, and they're only injured because they're at the Eclipse for a nice night out. They get told to go out the back by someone. There's no security there looking after them. What the hell? What's going on? So Timu is going to attempt to do that. So we're going to give him his operator of a +4, because what he's basically doing is attempting to do a deal. So we've got haggling, Greece, one culture. So because these are an American gang, but he knows the contacts is the gang boss, which we know it is, known face. So he's going to attempt to. So we'll give him, because he's got his audio perception, which means his interrogation is plus because he's got his audio stuff. We're going to give him a complimentary roll of, say, every difficult. Also what I got wrong is, because I found the Edge Runners mission kit. And so someone mentioned for humanity regain the tables, and I've got the tables for from the Edge Runners mission kit for long-term humanity gain and long-term humanity loss. So we'll start using those for individual instances, which means, but Owen's in a good ride because Miriam loves him and Miriam looks after him, which means that long-term Owen is going to be better off humanity-wise because he has someone who cares for him instead of just having no one. So we'll use those. But also it mentions that you don't equal the DV, you have to beat the DV by 1. So the target of 13 or 15 is not the target is 14 or 16. So Timu is going to attempt to utilize his audio perception filtering to pick up on the tone of voice of Neon Shadow, who's the leader of the Steel Girls, to convince her that they should get paid more, which he doesn't. So that gives him, if we're using human perception, that would be a 30. That'd be a 9, which is a fail. So he can't pick up on it because basically the gunshots are still ringing in his ears, and he can't do that. So he is going to attempt to persuade her We won't do a matched persuasion. We'll just say it's going to be difficult. He needs to beat a 15. He has an 11. Yeah, we'll just keep it that. He has an 11. He's going to basically try and convince her that they should be paid more for this gig, which is which they're going to have to do on Friday to get other stuff by Saturday. Oh, what do you know? So that makes him roll 20. So Timu rolls a 20, which is above professional. So Neon Shadow is going to apologise profusely, going to say this is not normal. Someone should have been on the back door watching out. I don't know what happened to our security. We'll get our security specialist. We'll get our net runner to check the security, because something should have been, like, someone must have brought down our security because we should have had cameras on. So we should have been highlighted. The demon should have fired off to highlight that something was going on at the back, and our alarm should have gone off and someone should have been out there to help you. We are so sorry. We will pay you, I don't know, we've got like a typical job is 1,000, a dangerous job is 2,000. I was thinking about the warehouse and what would equip the warehouse, and sort of, I found a map, one of the Loke battle maps, and I've stuck that into Arkham Forge, so that should be able to display. And I was thinking, and I was going to use John the Wise's simple average mooks to generate some drones, a security guard, and maybe an attack dog, because I painted a miniature. It was a D&D sort of dog thing, but I've painted it to look like it had metal armor, like a cyber dog. We'll use that. I'll put a picture. I won't send it. Maybe this week's newsletter, or the week I am. I'll send a photo of that in the newsletter of that miniature. And so I was thinking about that. So if they've got defenses like a cyber dog and some drones, then they're probably going to have an architecture around it, which means it's quite dangerous. So the original 1,000 probably is too undercut. So let's say that we've got, let's say he rolled high. We're going to pay them $1.5 grand each. So she's going to say, look, we really need that brain. I haven't got anyone else who can do this for us. So if you can get it for us, then I can give you, what's that? That's 4.5. So she'll pay 4.5 for it, which cuts my margin. Don't get me wrong, you have to acknowledge that's cutting down my profit margin here, Timu. I understand what's gone on here, but that's cutting it down. And at this point, whilst this discussion is going on, we will have a guy will walk into the cybernetic. Will they let him in? Oh yeah, I'll tell you what. Let's have the scene that the person on the door will come in and will say, someone is at the door. They're a journalist, they're media. They've got drones and stuff, and so Neon Shadow will say, tell them to leave the drones at the door, because we need to do the turnabout. We need Crash to come in and tell them about 24/7's plan. And so he will come in and he will start to talk to them. So they're in the club, the music's probably gone down, there's blood on the floor, there's bandages as the medic has done some impromptu surgery to fix up the ribs and to treat Miriam. Miriam is now sitting up. Timu has just argued the case, been pacing up and down and having a go at Neon Shadow. Neon Shadow sat there and gone, all right, we'll do it. As Crash then is shown in, people will start to sort of draw weapons. Crash is going to go, look, I know what's going on. I know what's going on, and I know why Miriam is being accused of what she's accused of. And that's when Neon Shadow is going to go, this isn't the thing with 24/7. We've heard this rumour going around. He's gone, that's it. I know about it. And this is then, because we've got to do a turnabout. That's what the beat is, a turnabout. So Crash is going to say, just thinking about this, what would the turnabout, why would Crash be telling them? So I think that, and then I was looking at other things to tie in, and we'll need to roll a name for this, but Crash is going to tell a story of how 24/7 is small fry, but wants to be big. Now, one of the things that makes you big is people want to take you down, and that creates a story about you. And they're just, basically this is a bit of exposition that standard film. Crash, who is the new person who's been introduced, is standing there. I think I'll find a picture, show you a picture of Crash. Crash, he has walked in. Is there a glare there? No. So Crash has walked in. Crash has a camera. There's a couple of flying drones around Crash that are taking pictures. but Neon Shadow has told Crash to put those down, so Crash has put those into these pouches around the outsides of him. He's got press, he's standing there, and he's saying, 24/7 asked me to film this outside. The solo, whose name was... I don't know if I generated a name for the solo. Let's generate a name for the solo. Here we go. Percentage. 59. Jace. Jace, isn't that Deus Ex? 41. Jace Spencer. Jace Spencer is employed as 24/7's bodyguard. Jace is positive that you, it says to Miriam, hacked 24/7's garden patch. I know you didn't. And they were going to go, and Miriam's saying, I didn't. I know you didn't. Don't you want to know why I know? I know because I know who did. Someone called, now this is the Netrunner who did it. And the Netrunner, I haven't generated the name yet. I'll generate the name now. Let's have from, European male names, table 1. Caius Joshua. And mentioning Caius Joshua, Miriam is going to stand up and go, you what? Because Caius Joshua is, I don't know if you remember, you won't remember. Miriam's background has an ex-friend who is a business rival as an enemy. This was one of her enemies who can only throw them at her. So Caius Joshua is Miriam's ex-friend from the life path. We rolled that in the life path. So when 24/7, this is now Crash, when 24/7 employed someone to create a story that they were being, 24/7 was being attacked because 24/7's garden patch was so popular that it needed to be brought down, thus generating the interest for people to go visit it. 24/7 needed a new story, and so 24/7 hired a hacker, Caius, to attack his garden patch. But 24/7 didn't want, of course, Caius, and Caius didn't want it, so Caius set you up, Miriam, and that happened so early enough that the news needs to come out. Now 24/7 then needed a bigger story, so it just was trickle news. But now what he's got, he has footage of a solo trying to defend his honor, and the team that protects the hacker, you, trying to defend themselves. That's what I was sent here to do, was to film this footage. But 24/7 is an egomaniac and not a journalist. I know I took the job, but I need the money. And so what I did was I took the job. Now I can sit on this footage until you can get to Caius and get some evidence. Miriam will then be asking, does he still live where he used to? I don't know, but I can try and find out where he lives and I can get that information to you. Timu will step up and say, I can get that information too, most likely. As long as I know the person's name, I can try and find that information. So you need to get proof that it wasn't you, but was Caius who did it. Now, if you can get me that evidence, I can create a story out of it and I can bring 24/7 down for you and thus make you innocent, like prove your innocence. But you need to be able to get that evidence for me. This is thus then the turnabout. So we have had our turnabout. Crash has told the team the plan of 24/7 and who the person, Caius, who is Miriam's enemy, that is now come back to try and get Miriam back because there was an opportunity. Our team now knows that there's a job that needs to do, but we now need to, because of our story, work out what because we have had our cliffhanger 2 was the monster attack. Our turnabout 2 was, our development 2 is the turnabout. So now we need our cliffhanger 3. Now, based on the fact, remember we were going to do 3 payoff passes. So after our cliffhanger 3, we'll have a development 3, and then we will do our conclusion for this little arc of beats, and then we'll roll into another story. So this is our story arc for this bit. So how we want to know story-wise how we want our cliffhanger, our action scene, which is going to be trying to get that data, trying to get evidence off of Caius, that Miriam didn't do the hack and it was Caius. So We will turn to our PDF and our cliffhanger table. We will roll a D100 and we'll see what we get. And that's what we will then convert into a way of moving the story forward at this point. Blues. 94. 94 is skirmish. 402. Page 402 will explain to us what we all know what skirmish means, but what it means in the terms of the beat cycle. The crew engages in a small battle with the opposition. If the crew is winning, the opposition escapes via trickery, smoke bombs leaping into the back of a passing truck, etc., etc. If the crew is losing, the opposition is content to capture them or leave them wounded but alive. A skirmish. Okay, so we will have a skirmish. Now, I've already built a map of an apartment, which I would thought we could use for a Caius, but this is going to be bigger than I thought it was, because a skirmish, the crew engages in a small battle. All right, skirmish. Okay, so what I'm thinking instantly is that tomorrow Timu is going to have to, all right, so Timu needs to make rolls to find out where Caius lives, and in the process of doing that, that he's been employed by another gang and they're doing a run from an apartment building because I've already done the map. Unless we do a different one. All right, okay, yeah, so I built an apartment map. I'll let you have that in the next newsletter because I'm not going to use that. Instead, we will have, it's a gang base. So I'll find a map, probably one of the Loke maps, or there's some DLC maps that are quite good, which are in the Tales of the Red Street Stories Plus DLC. Has some nice maps in the back. We will repurpose one of those and we will use those as a gang base, and Timu needs to get help from the Steel Girls maybe. So that is stuff that needs to happen. But probably that is bigger than doing it before we need to go and do the warehouse run. So all right, so Crash has told us that. We will then close this scene and then we will end that scene with them being told that information and Timu saying, I'll find out, and Neon Shadow going, but first I need that synthetic brain. Now this then means that, so on the Thursday, they are going to rest up and Timu is going to have to try and get some information. So how much damage did Timu? Timu's down to half hit. So he's going to make some phone calls. So making phone calls isn't that energetic, is it? All right. So Thursday, they are going to rest and clean weapons. Miriam is going to make sure that her deck is all working fine, because they're going to go, and then Timu's going to try and get some information about the warehouse in Rancho. Now, the warehouse in Rancho is going to have a net architecture. They're going to have to try and get into that net architecture to try and find out where in the warehouse the synthetic brain is being stored, get to it and get it out. And so I'm not doing that today. We'll do that next session. But during this period of time, we will have them on the Thursday. They will rest, because I mean, I've already been going half hour. If I do this again, it's going to be another 3-hour episode. So they will all rest. I don't know, like they'll get a rep bonus if they succeed in doing this. They can spend their IP in taking some of their stuff up. Can they? No, they can't. Taking a 5 to 6 is 120. They've got 80. And I don't think anyone's shoulder weapons is. Or we've got their roll ability going from a 4 to a 5 is 300. And you can't bypass levels, you have to go up one by one. Okay, so everybody heals. So Thursday, they're going to rest. Everybody's going to heal, which means they've all still taken damage. They're all down a little bit of hit points. Owen will spend the day doing stuff on that app that Miriam will be badgering him. So all day, Miriam will be saying, have you done your work? And Owen's going, what work? On the app, the work. He goes, oh, Miriam, can you just leave me alone? I got shot yesterday. I've got bruised ribs. We're going to have to go up again. She goes, you've got to do the work. All right. And so Owen, who is a bit short on that. So what can we get on this humanity gain and loss table? I mean, strictly speaking, they lost, so they should lose 1d6 worth of 1d6 worth of humanity loss. All right, tell you what, let's go. Let's do them all. They all can lose 1d6 and gain. No, because chances are you'll then lose more. I mean, they should have lost 1d6 because they were ambushed basically, but we won't do that. So they're all going to rest. Owen cleans the weapons and makes sure that everything is clued up and ready to go in for tomorrow. Miriam's going to check her deck and make sure everything on the deck is working fine. She could probably do with more anti-people ice, but she doesn't have any. Her deck can definitely carry it. When going up against Caius, she will probably have to use it. But Timu is the one who's going to be sitting there making phone calls. So Timu is going to attempt to find out some stuff about the warehouse. All he wants at the moment is to just get some information about the warehouse. So I know what sort of level of defenses I've made it, which is it's slightly above. So what the book says is 3 edge runners should be able to take on 3 mooks. I'm going to put the equivalent of 4 mooks, a human security guard, a automated dog defense, and 2 automated aerial drone defenses, with an E-threat demon running a net architecture that I'll get out of. I'll basically use the one which is in I think it was in this. Is it in this? It's in page 16 of the Cyberpunk Red data pack, also DLC. There is a net architecture for an apartment building, which is to be used in the Don't Fear the Reaper adventure. I'm going to just use that, which I know what the ice is, because you can get it yourself. If you download the DLC, you'll be able to know for next episode. But of course, Miriam doesn't know, so Miriam isn't going to prep for these things. And I think one of them will really mess Miriam up. But that is the base level. Floor 7 is going to be where potentially they will know where. If she hacks down to that, she'll be able to say exactly where the brain is stored. Otherwise, there's going to be 6 points on the map that they're going to have to go around and randomly try and pick one. And we'll hide. I don't know. Maybe I'll do 6 little pieces of paper inside the bag, and then pull one out each time they go. And if that comes out with the cross, that's the one that's got it in. Timu's going to try and get some information. They have a serial number. Timu's going to try and see if he can ask someone on the street and call in some favours. We'll let him have, I don't know, 3 favours, because we always work in 3s, don't we? He can have 3 favours. So he can call in 3 favours. If he fails a roll, that's one of them. If he succeeds in a roll, that's one of them. 3 favours. First off, where is this stored? That is going to be a professional level inquiry. We can do it as streetwise, which is an 11, or we could do it as bribery. That's also an 11. So either way, it's an 11, which means it's a professional level inquiry in 11. Will they know where it is? And that way we'll cut it down from 6 potential locations to 3. That's a 4 plus 11 is 15, which is a fail. So he cannot find, so he's asking around, he's phoning people around, he's doing calls. So he's got an agent embedded in his audio perception, so he doesn't actually need to make calls. He can just like sit there. He still has to have his phone near him, but it's linked up. He's got a Bluetooth head. And so he's making calls. He's sitting in the room, sort of like disengaged, staring off, talking to someone. And Owen and Miriam are like, oh, can't he go outside and do that? Does he have to sit here in the middle? Like, it's not that big an apartment, is it? I should really do a map for their cube apartment, their cargo container apartment, because they're bound to get hit there at some point. And he's hitting dead end after dead end, and he's like, oh man. All right, so next he's going to say, okay, he's going to try and find out what security company runs the security for those warehouses in Rancho, because they know where the warehouses are. And can he find out what the normal security is on that's on? That is equally a professional role. Not difficult, it's professional, because he's not that high up level, which means he's also got 11s. Oh, okay. So that would be 21, that's 28. 28 is almost legendary, so he does get told that the standardly, like most times, they have drones, patrol drones, so the dog, and normally at least one human, security. The net architectures, the drones and the patrol drones are controlled by Demon. So what that means is that we use, instead of the Demon assists the drones and the patrol dogs in making hits. So when we roll to hit, we roll using the Ifrit stats, and it also means that the Ifrit knows when somebody is in the architecture instantly, no one can dodge it, and the Ifrit will attempt to attack as one of its net actions. It gets 3 net actions. Will attempt to attack the net runner, which means that the net runner can keep the Ifrit busy to try and stop the drones and the dogs from attacking the people in the warehouse. And then hopefully the team going in aren't going to have too much of a problem. But the Ifrit, the demon, will still be, you know, the systems can run autonomously, but they won't be as good. But if the Ifrit is controlling them, it's going to be much better. But Miriam will get in and possibly have a chance to hit the control nodes to take over those devices and shut them down, or the team can go in, but there's still a human in there to cover the bases. So Timu now knows that, the team now knows that. Miriam's like, oh shit, I'm gonna have to go against the demon. I don't know if I'm equipped for that. So this will then give her a bit of a chance. We'll say that she can then possibly, I don't know how much money they've got left, but they might need to sort of score some ice beforehand. Then he's got his last one. He's going to say, all right, so what does he want to know then? The serial number. Let's see if they can get the location. His last chance to get the location. This time he needs to get 18 or above. So it needs to be a professional success, 18 or above. He's got an 11, which means he needs to roll 7s or above. 3, no. He cannot get, nobody knows, nobody's able to get the manifest for him. There's no one he can get who can get the manifest. So the only person who's going to be able to get this, either they're going to have to strike it lucky and find the right one, or Miriam has to get through to the base of the net architecture, which is where the files are kept. Yeah, that makes sense. So floor 7 is where the files will be kept. All right, so we know there is a demon that works in here. So is she going to have the ice to actually go up against that? So what is she carrying? She carries 2 instances of sword, which is good against black ice, which would also take out a demon, because you can only use 1 instance per turn. So you attack with it, which means it reses, attacks, and then it closes, which you can only do once per turn. So having 2 instances installed means that she can do 2 attacks in a turn. She also has armor, which does -4 brain damage. So it will protect her and then it will de-res. So it might do -4 to protect her and then it will de-res. She's got a worm, which will protect with help go through passwords, and cloak, which will help us try and slide away. You can't slide away from a demon. Oh no, so armor doesn't de-res. I don't think armor de-reses, because it says here, lowers all brain damage you would receive by 4 as long as the program remains res. Only 1 copy of the program can be running at a time. Each copy of this program can only be used once per net run. Only 1 copy of this program can be running at a time. Each copy of this program can only be used once per net run. Oh, okay, right. So it is used and then it closes. Do they have, next question, because she might be saying, look, if we're going up against a potential demon and black ice, I don't have anything to help. Now there is, for 500, they might be able, which is expensive, which Timu may be able to source, because Timu can source expensive stuff, can find expensive gear. So if he can make a streetwise roll, he could get hold of a copy of Killer, which does 4d6 damage to a program. If this damage would be enough to de-res the programs, it is instead destroyed. Okay, so how black ice, if she gets black ice, How that works is she would trigger it, and then it becomes a zombie, which I don't know if that's still used as a zombie thread. So basically it's a threaded process that runs by itself and will just keep running. So she would initiate the black ice, which would be the killer program, if she can get it. We haven't rolled it yet. Killer then drops into the initiative order, and then killer would then be assigned against whatever she decides to assign it against. So for instance, the last time that we were fighting something, it was that thing that wouldn't let her slide away. She could trigger the killer. Killer would drop into the initiative order. From that point onwards, she is no longer using her net actions to control it. It is an autonomous piece of software which will just keep doing what she's asked it to do. Either sit on the floor and wait for someone to come by. So if she was being chased by that netrunner, the last hack, it would sit there. When that netrunner turns up, it would start attacking the netrunner if it was anti-personnel. If it's anti-program, she might set it to attack another piece of black ice. Those two pieces of black ice would basically fight each other whilst Miriam is off trying to do something else, and those two are keeping each other busy. I think that's what it is. Oh, unless that other piece of ice is anti-personnel, because that anti-personnel can't attack that anti-personnel is going to chase down Miriam, whereas Miriam's ice is chasing down that piece of ice, if that makes sense. So Miriam is going to say, have we got the money to buy me some software to help me out? Owen, I think, is in charge of the money. Owen's going to say, oh, they've got 900. She basically spent nearly all of their money. She spent $1,000 on that. They've got 950 left. He's going to say, look, we've got 950 left. What do you need? This costs 500. So, I mean, she can't afford the $1,000 software. Timu's going to say, all right, let me make some phone calls. I'll see what I can do. So he can find expensive gear. Okay, so Reach is the highest price category of item that a fixer can always source. You can always find a place to source up to expensive items of equipment for clients on a piece-by-piece basis, even if they are otherwise unavailable. So Temu can get this software for her. The other ones, which were very expensive, he wouldn't be able to find. So he can find Miriam a chip with the killer ice on it. So he is going to get, he will say, all right, I'll do that, and then we'll allow him to leave the apartment. He's going to go and get them, he's going to go to the vendit, he's going to go and get them some food. He will, which is their generic pre-pack, and I think he's trying to live a more expensive lifestyle, if I remember rightly. He's trying to get more fresh food. He's trying to go up in the world. So he'll grab some food for them because they can get that from the vendit without any additional cost. He will then source. He'll go to a night market that he knows he's running on the Thursday night, spend 500 and get Miriam, because he can do that without any rolls, and get Miriam the killer software. So killer has a perception of 4, speed of 8, attack of 6, defense of 2, a res hit points of 20, and it will deal 4d6 damage to a program. So, and that will give armor, sword, eraser, sword, worm, and killer, which is 6 programs, and her deck can hold 7. They have got 450 creds left to their name between them. Think Owen's got enough Owen's got rounds. I mean, really, like, Owen might want to get a shoulder arm to go in on this, because he definitely noticed he was not doing damage against that solo. So let's have a look at what Owen could send Temu out to buy. All right, so Owen will send Temu out to get a shoulder arm. Temu's going to say, are you trained for shoulder arms? And he's going to say yes, even though it's not particularly. He's got level 2 in shoulder arm. What can he bump that? He's got 80 XP. Can I take that up to give him an edge on this? So 2 to 3 would be 60. And he cannot go to, so he's going to take the 2 to a 3 and spend 60 of his 80 to then get a level 3. And Temu is going to be sent out to get a shotgun for Owen. I mean, it's one. What's his hand weapon? Handgun is a 4, and shoulder arms is now a 3, so there's only one behind that. And Temu, because I just spent some time looking it up, basically they have 450 left. They cannot afford a standard quality shotgun. The only shotgun that Temu can afford to get hold of, which is expensive, but he can get that easily, is they can get a poor quality shotgun. Now, poor quality shotgun, so within the Chromebook, the Black Chrome, because they used to be called Chromebooks, didn't they? Within Black Chrome, there is a 50 EB costly one, 50 EB bucks one, but if you fire it 3 times in a combat, it will basically collapse, it will fall apart. If you fire 3 times in 1 minute, 20 rounds in combat, so 3 times, if you fire 3 times in a combat, basically, it falls apart, but that's only 50 bucks. But Temu is going to go slightly above and get a standard poor quality shotgun, but that means if Owen rolls a 1, even though Owen doesn't critically fail because he can spend those 4 points to not critically fail, the shotgun will fall apart if Owen rolls a 1. But Temu will come back with incendiary ammunition. So Temu will spend 200 of their last 450, and he's going to come back with, so they've got 250 bucks left now. They need to still make all the money they need to make to pay rent and pay food for next month. So they need to get this job to work. He's going to come back with incendiary ammo. So incendiary slugs, so what they're called, Dragon's Breath. He's going to come back with Dragon's Breath, slugs, and a poor quality shotgun. Incendiary ammunition works in whenever you deal damage to a target through their armor, you ignite the target until the target spends an action to put themselves out. They take 2 points of damage directly to the hit points whenever they end their turn. Multiple instances of this effect cannot stack. And so we'll even have that as if it hits the drones or the augmented dog, that they will still continue taking damage. Owen's going to be, is this what I've got to use? And then that'll be that. And I think that will be them ready. So Miriam will be ready to hack the systems. Temu is going to, I mean, their body armor has taken a hit, so that's not great. I think they could attempt to repair it. I don't like, they've all got tech, but if they're repairing things, I'm going to say you can't. Repairing things is heavy duty work and you can't heal, but they've all healed. Friday will be sometime during the evening, maybe evening, but because they'll all be psyched up, they won't get to heal on the Friday, and we will come into next session. They will make their way across. I'll show the map. It's from Rancho, it's here. I'll show the map now. That's where they're going to be hitting. That's where the warehouse is. So they'll make their way across to there. We'll assume that we'll open with them, I don't know, taking a cab, because they can all take at least 1 cab a week. Across to there with stuff, very Deadpool, with all their stuff in a bag that they won't forget. Get out, and then they'll do the run and attempt to get out and get back with their synthetic brain, hopefully. And then they can go straight into the next session. After that, we'll find out more information and then do that hit on Caius. Cool. Okay. So this is a lot of me mainly looking stuff up and building up ideas on the fly. So there's a lot of someone, I think it was in Peter Burgess, so the guy who does the parts per million. I love his stuff, but he sent a part of his newsletter. He sent out saying about don't compare yourself to people who do this on YouTube, because they cut out a lot of the thinking. Hopefully I'm very open and you realise that I go quiet and I cut all those quiet bits out, otherwise you would get bored. As I sit here and I think and I ponder over what the story should do next and where to go next. Basically, it's like I'm running a game, but for me. And so a lot of that goes, so a lot of Cyberpunk seems to be me looking stuff up, because there's a lot of stuff. It's all cool, I do love it, but there's a lot of stuff to look up. Anyway, so yes, that's what next session is going to be. Next session will be the warehouse run. Thank you very much to my subscribers. If you're not a subscriber, please consider subscribing. Thank you very much to the Adventurers Guild. You're all awesome people. And hopefully I will be moving next year to be nearer and actually meet some of you. That is going to be, I'm really looking forward to that. That's going to be something special. Thank you very much for all your time in watching this. I do appreciate you all incredibly. I hope that you have some outstanding solo games over the week. Make sure, be creative, come up with ideas. There's no rules to this, basically. That you're playing a game, but there's no rules apart from have fun and stretch yourself and be creative. You know, use those creative muscles and come up with stories and have a good time. I'll see you later. Bye bye.